Maria, it's happened again. My AI agent, Barnaby, just performed a soft reset on my entire Friday afternoon. It canceled my surf lesson and booked me for a deep work seminar on, wait for it, the history of the semicolon.
Technically speaking, Hugo, Barnaby is simply attempting to mitigate your digital drift. It has analyzed your recent productivity metrics and concluded that your attention span is currently, how shall we say, drifting into the Atlantic.
Drifting into the Atlantic? I'm a surfer. That's where I belong. I used to have a human assistant who knew that Fridays are for the waves, not for punctuation.
Precisely. You used to have a human assistant. That was a past state. But now, you are in the process of getting used to an agentic workflow. One is a finished memory. The other is a current, painful transition.
See? This is what I'm talking about. 1 minute we're talking about surfboards, and the next, Maria is hitting me with a grammar lesson. But she's right. If you're a stuck intermediate learner, you're probably feeling exactly like I do right now. Everything in 2026 is changing so fast, and the words we use to describe that change, used to, be used to, get used to, they're all tripping us up.
Indeed. These three structures are what we call a high friction point for learners. They look identical, they sound nearly the same in connected speech, yet they function in entirely different orbits of logic.
And that's why we're here today. We're going to move you from grammar anxiety to conversational confidence. Maria's going to give you the why, and I'm going to give you the street smarts.
And perhaps we can even help you convince Barnaby to let you go surfing.
One can only hope. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, we are deconstructing a triad of phrases that often keeps our intermediate students awake at night. We are talking about the used to family.
Here's the thing. Most people learn the first one, the past habit used to, in their first month of English. But then they get to the 2026 workplace. They hear someone say, I'm getting used to the AI. And suddenly, the brain freezes. It feels like you're trying to run an app that isn't compatible with your operating system.
That is a very apt modern mirror, Hugo. To understand why these phrases are so difficult, we must first look at the habitual used to. This is what linguists call a marginal modal.
Whoa, Maria. Marginal modal? Remember the rule. Let's put that in the no-linguist zone. Guys, a marginal modal is just a helper word that's a bit of a rebel. It doesn't follow all the standard rules of normal verbs.
Fair point. It is a helper word that is strictly, seriously defective. It has no present tense, no participle, and no infinitive form. It exists only to point toward the past. For maximum clarity, we use it for actions or states that happened frequently before but are no longer true now.
Like my surf lessons. I used to go every Friday. Now, Barnaby has me reading about semicolons. Past habit? Gone.
But let's look at the origin, because this is where the logic reveals itself. In the 13th century, the word use came from the Old French user, meaning to put something to work. By the 14th century, it shifted. To use something repeatedly became a habit.
So, if I use a path in the woods every day, eventually that path becomes my habit. I used to walk it. That makes sense. But Maria, why does it sound so weird when we say it? Native speakers don't say, I used to. They say, I useta.
That is due to assimilation, or what Hugo calls a sound block. Because the D in used and the T in to are made in the same place in your mouth, the alveolar ridge. We don't pronounce both. The D is absorbed by the T.
Useta, ju, ste. It's the music of the sentence. If you try to say every letter, you sound like a robot from 2010. In 2026, we want that flow. I used to live in London. I used to hate kale.
Precisely. And speaking of the D, we have to address the controversy that causes more grammar anxiety than almost any other, the negative form. Hugo, how do you write, I didn't used to like AI? Is there a D or not?
Oh man, you're trying to start a fight. If you look at a textbook, they'll tell you, did is already a past tense helper word, so you don't need the D on use. You write didn't used to,
Technically, the textbook is correct. However, if we look at real-world data from 2025 and 2026, we see a massive shift. In the UK, native speakers write didn't used to with the D at a ratio of 13:1. In the US, it's 7:1.
See, even the natives are ghosting the official rules. This is why you guys feel stuck. The book says one thing, but the internet says another.
The reason is that used to has been reanalyzed as a single fixed block of language, like wanna or gonna. People see it as an unchanging unit.
Here's the Hugo rule. If you're writing a formal email to a CEO or taking a big English exam, drop the D. Play it safe. But if you're texting a friend about your corporate lore or your digital drift, don't sweat it if the D stays there. Everyone knows what you mean.
A pragmatic approach, Hugo. But we've only covered the first part of the triad. We've talked about the past. But what about right now? What about the struggle of Barnaby the AI agent?
That's where things get really cringe if you get the grammar wrong. If I say I am used to Barnaby, that's very different from I am getting used to Barnaby.
One is a state of familiarity. The other is a process of adaptation. And the grammar for these two is, let's just say, much more demanding.
Yeah, and that's the meat of the lesson. But before we get into the ing trap, and believe me, it is a trap, I need to go try and negotiate with Barnaby. I think if I offer him a software update, he might let me have a coffee break.
An excellent idea. Let us take a short pause to process this linguistic lore. We will be right back to tackle the most common mistake in the stuck intermediate world.
Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started.
And we are back. I hope you have had a moment to process the historical evolution of our rebel helper word, as Hugo so colorfully put it.
Hey, if the shoe fits. But seriously, guys, we're moving away from the past now. We're talking about the stuck intermediate danger zone. This is where most students get a little brain foggy. That's your 2026 word for mental tiredness, because the rules start to feel like they're flipping upside down.
Precisely. We are now transitioning from the habitual used to the idiomatic constructions be used to and get used to. Technically speaking, these function quite differently because used is no longer a verb acting as a marginal modal. Here, it functions as an adjectival complement.
Whoa, Maria. Stop the car. Adjectival complement? Guys, don't let the big word scare you. She just means used is acting like a describing word here. It's describing your state of mind.
I stand corrected. It describes a state of being accustomed to something. Now, here is the high friction point. In the habitual form we studied in segment 1, we followed used to with the base verb. I used to work, but in these new forms, to is a preposition. For?
And here comes the Hugo translation. Because to is a bridge word, a preposition, and not a signpost, infinitive marker, it must be followed by a noun or, and this is the big one, an ein word. Maria, give them the technical name so I can translate it.
It is followed by a gerund participle, to,
which is just a noun-verb hybrid. It's an action acting like a thing. This is why you cannot say, I am used to work late. Your brain wants to do it because segment 1 was easy, but in the real world, that sounds like a major glitch in the system.
For maximum clarity, let us look at the be used to structure. This indicates that a situation is no longer new, strange, or difficult. It is your current reality. 7.
Think of it like a background app on your phone. 3. You aren't actively thinking about it, but it's running. It's normal. If I say, I am used to the $90% of synthetic content on my feed, it means I'm not shocked by AI-generated slop anymore. 9. It's just the musicals.
An excellent modern mirror. But what if the app is still installing? What if the process is ongoing? That is when we employ get used to.
Exactly. Get used to is the loading bar of English grammar. 3. You aren't comfortable yet, but you're moving toward it. It's the struggle phase.
Morphologically, the only thing that changes in this phrase is the verb get. It is highly flexible. You can use it in the present continuous to describe a current transition. I am getting used to my new agentic workflow. Sis.
Like I'm getting used to Barnaby the AI assistant trying to run my life. Guys, notice what I said. Getting used to. Running. I used that ing word. If I said getting used to run, Maria would have a canon event. That's 2026 slang for a life-changing moment of trauma.
I believe my corporate lore would never recover from such a grammatical lapse, Hugo. No way, no one, but let's look at why students struggle here. Research shows that learners often reach a plateau because they ignore the basics while trying to use advanced vocabulary. 13. They try to use a phrase like digital drift, but they say, I am get used to digital drift. 14.
Don't be that person. If you're using be or get, you have to have that d on used, and you have to have that ing on the next word. It's a package deal. They're like word best friends. They have to hang out together. 3.
Let us provide a practical 2026 comparison for our stuck intermediates. Imagine you are starting a new job where you collaborate with an agentic AI teammate. 15.
Okay, I'll be the student. Week 1. It's so weird. I'm getting used to an AI sending emails for me. Week 6. It's fine now. I'm used to having an AI partner. 16.
Precisely. In the first sentence, you are describing the loading bar, the process of change. In the second, the app is installed. It is a finished state of familiarity. 6 for now.
And remember, get used to can go into the future too. Don't worry, Maria. You will get used to my surfing schedule eventually.
I believe I am more likely to get used to ambient anxiety than to your Friday absences, Hugo.
Touché. But hey, notice how we're using these phrases to talk about feelings. Used to, from segment 1, was just a fact about the past. But be used to and get used to? These are about your comfort level.
That is a vital distinction. One is a temporal marker. The others are psychological states. This is why we can use be used to in the past as well. I wasn't used to the intentional silence of the rewilding retreat, so I found it quite distressing at first.
Rewilding, another great 2026 term. It means going back to basics, like no phones or real nature. 1. So if you're rewilding your English, you're getting rid of the robotic textbook sounds and getting used to the music of the sentence. 18.
We have covered the structures and the transitions. However, there is one final ghost in the machine we haven't addressed.
Oh, I know this ghost. It's would. Every time a student learns used to, they think would is its twin brother.
And as we shall see after the break, they are more like distant cousins with a very strict legal agreement between them.
Strict legal agreement. That's Maria speak for, this is going to be a little tricky. Grab a water, do a soft reset on your brain, and we'll see you in 2 minutes for the would versus sit. Used to showdown!
We will be right back.
And we are back for the home stretch. I hope you've done a soft reset on your focus, because it's time for my favorite part of the show.
Indeed. It is time for the real-world test. This is where we determine if you are truly moving toward conversational confidence or if you are still trapped in the grammar anxiety of the intermediate plateau.
Here's the deal. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios based on the lore of our favorite student, Leo. Leo is currently at a rewilding retreat in the mountains. No phones, no AI agents, just trees and intentional silence. Your job is to spot the glitch, the mistake, in Leo's sentences.
I shall be the technical judge, grading the logic behind your choices. Remember, in 2026, minor details like preposition usage and the ing form are what separate a master from a learner.
Scenario number 1. Leo is sitting by a campfire, and he says, I would have long hair when I was a teenager, but now I'm bald. Maria, logic check.
A major glitch. Have long hair is a state, a situation that was true over time, not a repeated action. Would is a diva that only performs for actions like play or run.
Don't would your states, guys. You can't do a state. If you can't see someone physically doing it in a movie, don't use would. Leo should have said, I used to have long hair. Used to is the workhorse. It handles actions and states.
Precisely. Use used to set the scene, and save would for the nostalgic details of the story, like, we would sit by the lake for hours.
Okay, scenario number 2. This one is about Leo's struggle with the rewilding process. He says, I'm not getting used to live without my AI agent Barnaby. Oh, that hurt my ears.
That is a high-friction error. Leo has forgotten the bridge word rule. In get used to, the word to is a preposition. Consequently, it requires a noun or a noun-verb hybrid, the gerund.
Translation. He needs that ein. It should be, I'm not getting used to living without Barnaby. Remember, if you're using the loading bar, get used to, or the background app, be used to. You must have the ing hanging out with it. They are word best friends.
Hugo, I believe you have a final test for our community regarding our 2026 cultural context.
You know I do. Scenario number 3. Leo is back from the retreat. He's in a job interview for a prompt engineer position, and he says, I am used to the digital drift of a fast-paced office.
2 errors here. 1 phonetic, 1 structural.
First, he missed the D. It must be used. Even though we pronounce it useta in fast speech, when you're writing that professional email or talking in an interview, you need that D to show it's a state of being.
And second, digital drift is a noun phrase, so the structure is correct, but he must use the verb to be. He should say, I am used to the digital drift. This shows he is already familiar with the lack of focus in modern life and can handle it.
Boom! Leo gets the job. Laughing. Now, guys, I know your ambient anxiety might be high after all these rules, but don't overthink it.
Indeed. Language is not a black box of mystery. It is a system of sound blocks that you can master with practice. Mistakes are just data. They show us where the loading bar is currently stuck.
Speaking of loading bars, my rewilding time is calling. I can hear the ocean from here, and Barnaby has officially unlocked my surf schedule for the weekend.
Then it is time to wrap up. But before we go, let's give our community the text message summary to save for later.
Hit 'em with it, Maria.
Text message summary. Used to plus base verb equals past habit, stopped. B, get used to plus ing equals familiarity or process, ongoing. Only use would for repeated actions, never for states like live or no.
Perfect. Short, sweet, and no brain fog.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the evolution of the used to triad. We hope this helps you navigate the high-friction world of 2026 with a bit more grace.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us your corporate lore in the comments. We want to hear what you are getting used to this year.
We will see you next time on the Mrs. English Interactive Podcast. Hugo and Maria. And stay interactive.